Good morning. We're going to keep the RESO Analytics party train moving. That's a phrase I never thought I'd say, but I did. So our goal with this session is to keep building on the great work that the community's done with RESO Analytics, to dig into the data of what are we actually providing to the market today in terms of data, completeness and quality, and what are we not? Kind of how close are we to achieving kind of this grand vision that we all have of empowering consumers with more and better and more standardized information. So quick intros, my name is Jeff Allen, I'm president of CubiCasa.
And I'm Aaron Smith, director of sales at CubiCasa.
And just a quick reminder of what we do if you don't know is we've got technology that empowers you to scan an entire property if you're an agent or a photographer or a homeowner with your smartphone, and from that produce a floor plan and structured property data. So what we're going to talk about here today, taking a step back, we do a lot of great work in the weeds at these conferences, talking about details, talking about specifics, but kind of pulling it back up to a 10,000 foot view. We don't just kind of remind what's kind of the shared mission and vision of both RESO and CMLS. The RESO mission statement is to create and promote the adoption and utilization of standards that drive efficiency throughout the real estate industry.
In CMLS's is to be the global leader in aligning the real estate industry toward a better, more efficient marketplace.
A couple similarities there.
Lots of efficiencies.
The word efficient is in both of them. And they're both kind of hinting at this higher goal that we're all arching towards here, rather than just how many fields are filled out. But like, we need to empower consumers and empower agents and empower all of our systems with standardized, efficient information and really drive towards a better marketplace. There's a sense of like, we're trying to create a better marketplace. And that's something we essentially want to try and measure. And RESO Analytics now represents the first time ever as an industry that we've had a tool available to say, like, how are we doing at achieving those missions and visions? How close are we to that ultimate kind of aspirational mission of all the data that you need to make a purchase decision as a consumer? So what we're going to dig into is some data from RESO Analytics to actually understand that. How much are we empowering consumers with enough information to make decisions? So as a reminder, RESO Analytics, you guys just heard about it from the folks before us. 333 data dictionary implementations tracked, 328 web APIs tracked, all available and accessible to any of you through the RESO site. And it really is kind of the most complete picture that we have as a shared whole of what is the completeness and quality of the data in our industry. So how are we doing?
Yeah, so what are we doing a good job of providing to the market? We looked at two different property resource groups, which out of 620 data fields in property and property room, we are a floor plan company, so we do care deeply about the interior of the home. 59 of them were available on 75% or more listings. Obviously you'd think about things like address, status, list price, who the agent is, other agent supplied features of the home. These are all things that make it important to purchase the home, make an offer, decide to go see it, things that you would need to see on a portal or a consumer-facing MLS website. Where we coming up short is more of the interesting part. I think we obviously are going to have a listing price on every single home and an agent representation there, but we can look out of these 620 different groups, and 455 of them are available on less than 50% of all listings. Some themes for these are property size and measurement details, school information, room details, and all sorts of other things on this tiny list that we made really small to look overwhelming on that side. If you look at this, like, these are features that are important to make a consumer decide what are they going to do. Do I want to see this house? How close is it to my kid's school or a good school? Where are the room measurements from? And if we look at the next slide, we can look at some of these more in detail. So, something that I think about a lot, I'm from Michigan, and so we have basements everywhere. And I want to know, is my basement finished, unfinished? Are there bedrooms down there? Where are the bedrooms? If I am in my 60s, do I need a main floor master, or do I need to figure out something else with stairs? One that I want to highlight up, which is above, which is a 0.0% availability, is the room area source. As we look at getting the MLS to become the ground truth of data, where is that room measurement coming from? Is it from public assessor data? Is it from building departments? Is it from a company like CubiCasa? We think that there's a world where if you can stamp the source, there's a higher level of trust in the data that comes from that. So if you just continue to look through some of these lists, some of them are a bit redundant.
Oops.
And some of them, are also excited.
Wow, they don't want me to go backwards.
I'm just glad I don't have the button.
There we go.
There's obviously some things that we can figure out ways to collect that data and then input in a really efficient way. So
what does this tell us about our progress towards that greater mission we talked about for RESO and CMLS? We've got a great start. We're providing a lot of data to consumers, but we still have work to do to provide in-depth and actionable data. We're doing a great job of more commonly providing agent-supplied property characteristics than facts that might be considered auditable. A lot of this data is still kind of agent subjective data that's entered to describe things like features. Consumers can't really yet make a purchase decision from the data that we have. They can understand generally like which properties I'm interested in, but at this point, somebody can't actually make a decision of this is the one I want to buy without visiting it themselves, or more often than not, having a trained professional like an appraiser or a home inspector actually do this work. Now, it's a question of should they actually make a purchase decision from just information they get online, but the reality is the opportunity is there to provide that level of information, and we're not quite there yet. So, and then for industry initiatives like Redistribute, having some more unique and actionable data that is more purchase actionable, it could have a galvanizing impact on those types of initiatives. So there's a lot of really interesting technology-based solutions coming to address these issues. Our friends at RESP are doing some great work. Shout out to Nathan and crew, go find them. Foxy AI is doing great work with image recognition as well. CubiCasa on the mobile capture side, and then folks like iGuide, who I believe are here as well on the 360 capture side with 360 cameras. There's this kind of movement happening now towards what we're calling technology-based property data collection. And it's data collection that isn't just going to be directly inputted by an agent, but it's data that can be generated by a process. And so the benefits of that can be standardized. So the data model always behaves in the same way. It counts square footage in the same way. It determines condition and quality in the same way. It's trustworthy. There's no human bias involved. And then that's a deep and unique data set that you can get that you might not be able to get from an agent because they don't want to stand and type in all those different data fields. So the types of unique data these tech tools bring is things like gross living area, it's GSE standards, room dimensions, condition and quality. I know RESP's doing some great work on that. Layout, tagged materials, a lot more. So there's a big kind of movement of these companies going on. We're just part of it, but there's lots of great companies out there working on this stuff. And from our perspective, we see this as the direction we can go to more directly achieve that mission.
Yeah, so outlining some benefits of capturing more data. I mean, obviously, the more data, the better, the more robust, but we kind of drove it into three key areas. Again, I want to reference this idea of ground truth. Being the MLS as the source of truth for all property data in the US and Canada and beyond is really important. Being able to be the part where everybody calls into your information and then can get out accurate, true data, which is updated in real time with transactions and other information that gets put in. It also, like we mentioned, it enhances industry efforts like Redistribute in providing really valuable data to institutional customers. And then the last part that I think we really want to hone in on is this stronger listing search experience for consumers. With the advent of Chat GPT, Auto GPT, all these things, descriptive search, people need to be able to use those types of prompts in the future. We don't know where exactly it's going to go or how it's going to function, but we do know that search is changing, and the experience of search is no longer budget and location. It's details and call outs from these type of data fields. And if your MLSs are the ones that have the most accurate, robust representation of this using technology tools like CubiCasa or iGuide or an image recognition software, that's where you're going to be able to send out that accurate data for other customers' portals on your consumer-facing sites. So when somebody types into Realtor GPT, house in Brighton, Michigan with 5 bedrooms, 2 bath, this kind of flooring, this kind of basement, they're going to get back a set of X number of houses with the data sets that you guys have. So what's our call to action, Jeff?
We've been talking for a long time as an industry about how we achieve these visions and missions, so let's get to it. I mean, the tech's there and it's available to make happen. And I think we want to close with just another big shout out to the RESO Analytics product. It's a pretty sick product, provide more data than I think any of us could ever expect to see or understand about the market. So shout outs to Josh and everybody who was involved in working on that. Thanks for your time.